Right. So, what is this all about? All right. So, let's just say you've had an argument and you are sort of like starting to get all tense, or you can feel that there is an argument that is about to occur and you don't want to react. So, what I'm going to say is, I want you to feel this. All right. Feel it because it it is you. All right. Look, here you are. Let me say it in a different way. You've just had an argument. You're about to react to something that's been thrown at you verbally or intentionally. You've got this situation happening. This is for you. All right. This program, these steps, this system, this process is for you because most people don't realize that what's actually happening in the moment when something gets said that is really opposite to what you feel in your own psyche and your body reacts to it. You see, when somebody says something to you and you feel, nah, that's not me, your body actually reacts to it. It holds you differently. And so if you're anything like me, it could be that your chest tightens, your jaw tenses, you maybe you feel heat rising up inside of you, you get hot, and it's like that slow burn, if I can call it that way. And you're not actually listening to what they're saying anymore. You're focusing on what's happening here. You're reacting to what's been said. And what usually happens is you either say something you don't mean, because you just blurt things out. You shut down completely. You can't speak. You can't respond. But you're just getting so freaking angry inside. You're just like, everything's there. You're locking everything up. And you could potentially, and this is what I have done, is you walk away and you just shut down. You just lock everything up and then you play it around. And it churns and it churns and it churns and it churns in your head. And you walk away and you think, oh, I should have done it differently. I should have said this. I should have said that. Da 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 da. And what I've done over time, because this is how I've reacted. Okay, so what I've done over time is I have learned that when this feeling of attack comes, it's not always an attack. It's my body signaling to me that there's something that I need to look at. All right, now, so I know it sounds really weird, but this is how wonderful our bodies are. It tells us that, and it signals to us that this is happening. So so what's happening is a signal, and you can recognize the signal in a moment, and you can change how you respond completely. Seriously, you can actively change how you respond. And so in this, I'm going to walk you through a simple process. I'm going to talk to you about it. I'm going to show you how to do it because this is what I use. I use it myself to recognize when something feels off in a conversation, and I learn how to separate what's theirs to what's me and what's mine instead of reacting. So if this sounds like you, stay around. Okay, so we what I want you to see is that when the body responds, because the body listens to words that's thrown at it that it's coming into contact with. So when you're in an argument, whether it's with a loved one, whether it's with siblings, whether it's at work, whether it's sitting at church, or you sitting in some sort of spiritual gathering, and you just hear something that just doesn't agree with you, that you just resisting, that makes your mind go whatever, and you just want to react to it. This is what's actually happening. It's, first of all, I want to tell you it's not an attack. All right, you're not being attacked. It may feel like it because you're hearing stuff coming at you from someone else, and sometimes it's a curveball, sometimes it just comes out of nowhere. But what's happening is your body is responding. So what happens is your body hears and responds before your brain actually works out what's going on. So you could, like, if you're anything like me, your body could get like tense, and then it starts to heat up. I get like this temperature rises up in my chest and up to my neck and into my face, and I just want to go on defense mode. And the mistake is, what happens is people think they're being attacked. I think I'm being attacked because of what's happening on, so I want to defend myself. And yet the truth is, it's not always an attack. Sometimes what's happening is people are coming at you, they're speaking at you, and because of all of that which is locked up inside of our bodies from the past and things that's happened to us in the past, we often think it's an attack. We misread the signals, and what happens is we stop listening. we react, we shut down, ears get closed off, and things begin to escalate. And I'm sure we've all been there where things just go up like this. But I want to, as I say, I'm going to walk you through a method. I'm going to walk you through something that I know works for me, and I have seen it change my life, and I want that to work for you. So, what is this method that I'm talking about? Is it simple? Is it hard? Well, I personally believe that it is really simple because you can literally think it through in a couple of steps, about 7 or so. But what I want you to see for yourself, what I want you to hear for yourself, is it's an internal thing. It's not something that you just speak out unless you want to, but it's more of an internal discussion with yourself because you're acknowledging and you're feeling for yourself and you're looking after you, all right? You're looking after what's going on inside of you. So instead of reacting in the moment, instead of like just blurting everything out and saying things you don't want to say, this is what I do. Okay, so that. I'm a bit nervous about sharing this, but here we go. So first thing, I notice what's happening in my body. I can feel heat. My ears are ringing. My face is getting tight. My jaw, my neck. I'm just like, don't do this, you know. So it's a case of like I'm getting defensive. So I notice what's happening, and I stop, pause. Sometimes I'll put my hand up, and the other person's like, stop, and I'll say, just stop, and I'll take a deep breath. Why am I breathing? Okay, why am I stopping myself from speaking? Because I don't want to say something I don't mean. I don't want to say something that's going to just escalate everything and become a bigger and bigger argument. I take a breath. Now, I'm not stopping and walking away. I'm not closing down. I'm putting a comma in. I'm pausing. I'm taking a breath. I'm giving myself space to act on the next thing that I want to do. All right, so first thing, I notice. Second thing, I pause. I take a breath. With number 3, I take a breath. It's like I go. So I've noticed, I've stopped, I've breathed. And then I acknowledge. I acknowledge that this is a reaction. I'm reacting. Acknowledge it. I'm reacting. But it's not necessarily a truth or a reality that I'm reacting to. I'm reacting because I'm feeling defensive. So this reaction, this defense, is what I need to look at. All right? And what I need to do then, or what I do, is I go into step number 5, which is I separate. I separate myself from what's coming at me. Is this mine? No. Is this my perception of who I am or what I am? No. Well, whose perception is it? It's theirs. All right, so what I'm doing is here's the person that might be having an argument with me, and here's myself, and in the middle is the thing, right? The statement, this is the wording that's being said. So it's not mine, but it came from here, so I don't have to take it. I don't have to hook into it, all right? So this isn't mine. But what is mine is my response, what is happening inside of me, my reaction, my reactivity, okay, the anger, the hurt, the tears, the shutdownness, the wanting to defend, right? That's mine. So I ask myself, is this necessary? Is this who I want to be? Is this something that is nice about me? Or does it make me a nice person when I act like this, when I behave like this? Do I want to change this? And 9 times out of 10, it's yes. That is what I want to do. So I have a unique thing where step number 6, I have in my imagination, I see a cylinder, just a plain cylinder, transparent even. And it always reminds me of when I was a kid and I would go shopping with my mother to the sort of stores and things like that, the clothing stores, the big brand stores. They'd have these at the tills. They didn't have the till where you put the money in the till. They had these things that you would you'd buy something, you'd give the sales lady the money. She'd put that into a canister and a receipt or an invoice of some sort, some writing on a piece of paper. She would put that into a tube, and the cylinder would suck that capsule up to the accounts department. The accounts department would obviously do what they need to do there, and they would send down any change and a receipt for what had been purchased. So in my mind's eye, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the cylinder, and I put all of the anger, all of the hurt, all of the discomfort, the tension, this yucky feeling that I'm feeling, I put it in that cylinder, and I seal that cylinder. And I send that off to the universe. I go, I don't want it anymore. So I'm sending it away from me. Now, I'm not resisting it. I'm not saying it's not mine. I'm owning it. I'm acknowledging it. But I personally don't want it anymore. I'm releasing it from my body. I'm releasing it from my energy, from my psyche. And I'm putting it in the cylinder. And I'm letting it go to the universe to be washed, to be cleared, to be dissolved away from me, no longer attaching to myself. And here's the clue. Here's a very important thing to remember, that when you do that, remember you've got person A, person B, and person A is sort of like speaking yucky words or angry words at you. Unless you hook into it, it can't actually come to you. You don't own it. The minute you hook into it and the minute you make it yours, that becomes yours. So if you don't hook into it, if you take the time to just breathe, pause, acknowledge that this isn't necessarily your truth. And so if it's not your truth and it doesn't belong to you, you're already untying those cords, you're untying those strings, you're flicking those words off of you back to where they came from, back to that individual. Okay. And so what you're doing now is you're allowing yourself to feel without judgment, but you're also acknowledging that this feeling perhaps isn't the best thing for you. It's not going to be conducive to a good communication and a good way of being with each other. Whether it's, as I say, whether it's sibling, your loved one, life partner, work, you could be in at a teaching, in a spiritual course of some sort, and you hear all things. Now, you've got a choice to react or respond after doing these 6 points. Now, allow yourself to see that cylinder disappear, the capsule inside the cylinder disappear, and if you want, get a receipt. Thank you for your deposit. And just let it go. If you've deposited something, it's gone. It's no longer with you, all right? Now, step 7 is important because you need to respond. So once you've taken the time to work through the first 6 steps, take another deep breath. And just, if you want to, close your eyes. Just feel in yourself that sense of calmness, that it is, for me, it's a release. It's a letting go. And then once I've settled, then I look at the other person and I say, all right, let's talk. Now, sometimes you might feel like you can't do that in that very short period of time. You might want to go, hey, I don't want to respond to this at the moment. I need to take some time. And you walk off and you do what you need to do. Do the 7 steps. If you come back and it still wants to escalate, you go to the person and you say, look, before we continue, and this is my added sort of step that I put in there. So you could say this is step 8. Before we continue, before this escalates, let's just sit with each other for 3 minutes. No phones, no scrolling, no music, nothing. We just sit in each other's company and you breathe. And you don't speak to each other. You don't look at each other. You just speak to yourself. This is important. How am I going to respond to this person? How am I going to show them that I don't want to argue? And just maybe even just send quiet, energetic messages saying, it's okay. We don't have to argue about this. We don't have to be angry. Let's just talk quietly. I love you. I respect you. And just have that in your energy. But you're not verbalizing that, okay? You're just thinking this. And you allow yourself to come to that peaceful minute. After 3 minutes, you look at the other person and say, now, what was it that you wanted to tell me? What was it that you felt that I needed to know? Now, you're not asking them to prove something to you. You're not asking them give evidence, to da 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 da. You're just saying, hey, what was so important that you needed to tell me? And 9 times out of 10, because you've both sat in that place of quietness, they've calmed down, you've calmed down, and it creates a different place, a different energetic place to stand and speak to. You feel calmer, and they hopefully are feeling calmer. And so you're now in a place where you can actually have a good conversation in clarity and in peace. So hold on, there is more to come. Alrighty, so we've just stepped through those steps. Definitely 7 steps, and I've given you an eighth step in case you need it. And believe me, there are times where you will want to use it. So let me give you an example. Let me walk you through an example that I've experienced. Okay, so there was a time where I was unwell, and I was taking medicine for my thyroid, but the thyroid medicine was actually working against me. It wasn't helping me, and I was unbalanced. I was just I was just in a mess. Okay, so people would speak to me, or they would ask me something, and maybe their tone of voice was a little bit off, or and to me, I felt like I was being constantly attacked, constantly told that I was, I don't know, in my head it was like, that I wasn't good enough, that I was doing things wrong, and blah 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 all. But it was like I just felt the whole time, because I wasn't well, I felt like I was being attacked. I felt like I was constantly on guard, walking around on eggshells, blah blah blah. But what I learned through doing this, okay, what I've learned through doing this is I listen, I hear the stuff, okay? So the words coming at me. So today what happens, words coming at me. I'm feeling triggered. I'm feeling the heat. I'm feeling maybe the jaw wants to start tightening. I'm feeling these triggers in my body. But instead of now me reacting, what I'm doing now is I'm doing that pause. I'm breathing. I'm asking myself, is it necessary to behave like I used to behave? If I didn't say this, if I didn't react this way, would it be a better result? Would I be calmer? Would they be calmer? And so I've stepped into the process. I've looked at myself, recognized where I'm being triggered. Where's that tension in my body? Focus my breath into that part of my body. So if it's here in my chest, it's just sometimes I put my hand on my chest and I breathe. Okay, and I feel that through. Then I go to the next step and the next step and the next step until I actually do every step. And I come to the end and I'm calmer and I work through it. And I've even had my partner say, wow, look at you're coming back to who you were. When I'm in this sort of state. Now look, I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I'm human, and I start to react, but I pull myself back. Deep breath. Let it go. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is the question I ask myself. So do these steps and expect to feel and see changes in you within a week. You should be able, if you do this, you should be able to see things. And you know what might happen is what I would do if you don't have, if you sort of not in a situation of being in an argument or a place of discomfort where words are coming at you, maybe go and ask somebody to come at you. Maybe create a scenario so you can put this into action. But if you're here, it's because you've already had this action and you've had this reaction and you want to make sure it doesn't happen again. And you can come to a place of center. You can come to a place where you don't need this reaction anymore and you become responsive. So what am I saying with all of this? Okay, this goal, the aim, this whole thing is not to show that you'll never get triggered again, that you'll live your life through lollipops and candy floss and everything's all nice. Or as they say here, fluffy ducks. you know, the goal is to show you that the triggers are going to keep coming. You're still going to feel things. You're still going to respond and notice things in your body. But because you're aware, you'll be able to identify, go through the process, release, and respond differently. It gives you that counteraction. It gives you that way of learning, of relearning something that becomes a stable asset in your life. And you don't have to fall back. You don't have to act the way or react the way that you did previously and all the other times. You can indeed allow yourself to become calmer and not reactive, but become responsive. So I hope this has helped you, and I'd love to hear feedback from you. See how you feel. How does this work for you?